Hello! Today we're going to be talking about customizing JSON in your APIs. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to generate and customize what are called Rails serializers. And we're going to understand what constitutes presentation logic and in the context of serving a JSON API and why our formatting goes there. So we're going to be using for this active model serializers, what I'm going to refer to as AMS from here on out. AMS, what it does is it allows us to really not have views in our API anymore. And instead, we're going to use that data in kind of an object-oriented fashion. The code we're going to be working on is built on the Building Internal APIs video previously. So if you haven't worked on that yet, do that first. Essentially, we have this API that we've built that just lists out a bunch of items for us and is full CRUD functionality. So when we call render JSON in our controller, Rails makes a call to as JSON under the hood, unless we have a serializer set up. Eventually, as JSON calls to JSON, which generates our response. With how we've used render JSON up till now, all data related with the resources in our database is sent back to the client as is, which is fine, but what if we don't want to send all the data back? Let's say we have a person model that has attributes like the name, which is fine, right? People have names. And perhaps their date of birth, like maybe date of birth is fine in there. And then you have something like a social security number. And that sounds like a terrible thing to expose on an API. So, how do we not do that? Well, without serializers, one can say we could create a custom method in our model, but that's not really where that belongs. We don't want the raw guts of our model converted to JSON and sent to the user. Maybe we want to customize it and send it back, and we're going to talk about how to do that. So, the first thing we need to do is that we need to add on to our API, and what we're going to do is that we are going to add an order, and orders will have items and items will have orders, and so we start by doing Rails G model order number. Cool. We're going to do Rails G model order item, order references, item references, item price integer, just making sure I don't spell anything wrong, quantity integer. That looks good. And we're going to do bundle. Oop, did I? Yeah, forgot the G. Live coding is the best, especially when you have trouble typing like I do. Excellent, we've built that, so we're going to do bundle exec rake db migrate. Okay. Oh, relation orders already exist. So this, I previously built that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to YOLO, which is an alias I have that will drop my database, recreate it, and then migrate it and seed it if I have anything. So that is great. So now what we're going to do is that we are going to seed our database with some orders, some items. We're going to have some order items in there. So the first thing is I don't want to go through this process of faking out fake items and things like that. So we're going to go to our gem file, and in our gem file we're going to add the gem faker, which generates fake tests for us. We're going to bundle. Cool. And we're going to go add relationships to our models. And our item, we're going to has many order items, has many orders through ordered items. In our orders, wrong file. We are going to has many order items, has many items through order items. And now we're going to go to our seed file, and we're going to whip this together real quick. 10 times do item.create. And so this is where we're going to use Faker. We have an item, and an item has a name and description. So for name, when your name is going to be Faker commerce dot product name description Faker chunk fact. So Faker's kind of fun. Like what we're doing here is that Faker has various maybe not libraries is the right term, but collections of just text. So for commerce, it's just going to generate us a fake commercial sounding product name. And for here, it's going to give us a Chuck Norris fact. Check out the Faker Gem documentation for all the different things. There are Game of Thrones themed ones, Seinfeld quotes, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you name it. It's just a quick, easy, yet fun, potentially fun way in order to generate some, like fake text without having to think about it. So we create our items, and we go 10.times do order.create order number. It's going to be a random number between nope. Between 100,000 and a million. Million? Close enough. And then we're going to create 100 orders. For item. Commas in here. Cool. And that looks good. And we're going to see about running a bundle exec rake db seed. And it looks like it ran without any problems. Cool. So now we need to make our controller. Rails G controller API v1 orders index show. We're going to create an orders controller namespace under API v1, and we want the index and show actions. Cool, let's going to do that. Let's check out our routes file. And so it did this, which is not like kind of redundant, so we can do this. Resources orders only index show. Then we get rid of this. Colons bother me. Don't know how. I don't know why. Especially when there are so many of them. Like, ever look at a word long enough, the word loses all meanings. That's me and colons and Rails. Cool. So we've got the routes. That's cool. Let's check our orders controller. And we got next show. We want this to do the thing. So render JSON order.all. Render JSON order.find params ID. And let's start up our Rails server, and we will take localhost 3000 orders. Cool. So let's just actually look at the raw data, and we'll pretty print it. We'll see orders. Cool. Let's check out our orders. Take the first one. Cool. Look at item. Oops, items. And we can see here the work of our faker gem here, the ergonomic paper plate. Chuck Norris doesn't bug hunt, as that signifies a probability of failure. He goes bug killing. So we can see here that we have this API, we have the orders, we can see things. But here's the problem. We have these relationships, right? And we want, like, though this is all the information we need, we also want to see, like, I think, like, for the items, you want to see the items orders, but I think it makes more sense in my head that when I pull up the first order, I also want to see the item. I don't, like, the order number is not really all that helpful to me. So we're going to talk about how we do that. What we're going to do is we're going to use active model serializers to modify JSON. So what we're going to do is the first thing is we're going to go to our gem file, and we're going to add in the gem active model serializers, plural. Going to quit our server, and we are going to bundle, make sure that's installed, and it is. And we're going to use a generator to generate us a serializer. Rails G serializer order. Cool. You see that it created the file. And we have an order serializer, and it has attributes ID. Cool. So let's just for ha-has, let's start up our server here, and let's just take a look at what happened. Well, now we only see the order, just to see the ID numbers, because here we see an order in our order serializer. We only are, the attributes are the ID, and the big picture here is that we want to add some attributes, right? We want to add also the order number. So let's do that. This has to be a symbol. And let's bring that up again, refresh it. I apologize for the wait. My computer's weird in that whenever I change something, it takes a little bit for it to hit. Yeah. We see the order number, and we want more, right? We want to have items, don't we? Well, in our serializer, we just need to do this. Has many items. So let's go back here, we'll hit refresh, and we can see here in this this kind of simplified JSON view, we can see that now orders have items. Let's go to the raw data, and let's do the pretty print. We can see here that the order numbers also has a items here that has the list of items that pertain to this order, which is fantastic. So we also may want to have custom kind of fields, like some kind of light, maybe some light logic. When I say light logic, things that you might be okay with putting in the view. For example, what if we wanted to have also with each order like a total of how many items? What we can do is we can add an attribute num items, and down here we can add a def num items, and it is going to be object.items.count. And what object is referring to here is the actual order that we're referring to. You may it may help you to think of it as kind of like self, or maybe as like a block parameter when you're working within a numeral, which is saying like, hey, this is the thing that I'm working on right now. And when we save that and we refresh, we can see here that we also have this number of items. So order 1 has 6 items, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that works. Outstanding. I also want to mention that you could literally put anything you want in here. We could add a message attribute, and we can make a message method down here, and we just throw in here hello friendos, and when we refresh, hello friendos, and every single, collapse that in every single order, right? And that's how we use active model serializers. I also want to mention that this is one approach. Another approach that people are using is called JBuilder. And JBuilder is a different bit of syntax. It's still also very straightforward. And you can Google and search for documentation how to use it. The interesting thing about JBuilder is that it puts its file. So we see here that our order serializer goes in the serializers folder at the app level. JBuilder files actually go into views. So that kind of also makes sense because views kind of like these are essentially views for APIs. Kind of like views for APIs. We're kind of formatting things for computers. And that is it. Thanks for watching.